Good morning. Today with the students, short lesson, but good, I think. Hopefully they remember it. But what we did is we went through the very ending of Mark chapter 12, which is Jesus. First we went through 37 through 40. Then we went through 41 through 44. And I read part of this yesterday, but I wanted to read it again. Since David himself, wrong spot, 38. Jesus also taught, beware of these teachers of religious law, for they like to parade around in flowing robes and receive respectful greetings as they walk in the marketplaces. They like to be seen, they like to be heard, they like to look good. And how they love the seats of honor in the synagogues and the head table at banquets, yet they shamelessly cheat widows out of their property and then pretend to be pious by making long prayers in public. Because of this, they will be more severely punished. So first, Jesus reminds us how we ought to treat people. The book of James tells us the same. James chapter 2 that we just read, don't show partiality. And then it goes into another story. We understand that, not showing partiality. And we talked about that a little bit yesterday. But then it goes into the story of the widow with the 2 small coins. So as they shuffled in this morning, the students, and Friday's usually a light day. We do half days to begin with, but sometimes students just don't show up on Fridays because it's a half day. And the weather's nice today, so I don't blame them. I might shut down a little early myself. But here's the story of the widow's offering. Jesus sat down near the collection box. We have one of these in our church, in the temple, and watched as the crowds dropped in their money. Many rich people put in large amounts. It doesn't say how much. Then a poor widow came and dropped in 2 small coins. Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I tell you the truth, this poor widow has given more than all the others who are making contributions. For they gave a tiny part of their surplus. But she, poor as she is, has given everything she had to live on. 2 small coins. It's kind of like the talent, or it's kind of like the gift that God has given everyone. All he asks is for what you've been given. He doesn't ask for any more. And all he asks is that you give him everything. Those who gave large amounts of money gave small portions of the whole. She gave everything that she had to live on. And so I gave them 2 small coins and I said, let these remind you that we need to give our all to God. Always. And I thought about having them stick it in the offering box, but I thought, no, I'm gonna have them put them in their pockets. Let it jingle around in there. Let them think about this for a few days, maybe. I mean, they might lose them this afternoon, I don't know, but your 2 small coins, what have you got that the Lord is asking you to give him? Everything. So next time you have a couple coins jangling around in your pocket, remember that the Lord wants everything that you have, not half, not a portion out of what he's given you. And we honor him, and we glorify him, and we worship him. This is an interesting prayer. It's entitled Lord's Day Eve, so it'd be Saturday. God of the passing hour, another week has gone, and I've been preserved in my going out, in my coming in. Thine has been the vigilance that has turned threatened evils aside. Thine the supplies that have nourished me, Thine the comforts that have indulged me, thine the relations and friends that have delighted me, thine the means of grace which have edified me, thine the book which amidst all my enjoyments has told me that this is not my rest. Not in all successes, one thing alone is needful, to love my Savior. Nothing can equal the number of thy mercies, but my imperfections and sins. These, O God, I will neither conceal nor, I should have looked that word up, palliate, but confess with a broken heart. In what condition would secret reviews of my life leave me, were it not for the assurance that with thee there is plenty of redemption, that thou art a forgiving God, that thou mayest be feared. While I hope for pardon through the blood of the cross, I pray to be clothed with humility, to be quickened in thy way, to be more devoted to thee, to keep the end of my life in view, to be cured of the folly of delay and indecision, to know how frail I am, to number my days and apply my heart unto wisdom. The rest of these prayers in this book are for like the Lord's Day. It's prayers for taking communion, prayers for that you would pray before the worship service. But I think we'll find something beautiful in them anyway, even though they're sort of to be read in church, before the worship service, before the communion service, before the preaching of the word. And then later on in the book, we'll get to a place where it's where they have morning and evening prayers, a week's worth. But I think we'll still go through them. I think there will be some great benefit to them, even if we're not necessarily praying them in the morning or the evening, like is suggested. So, all right, we're getting close to the end of this thing. When we get to the end of it, we're just gonna turn right back around and go through it again, because I started with you guys when I was about halfway through the book. I just was reading it and loving it so much. I was like, I need to share this with somebody. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna start it from the beginning and get about halfway through it before we move on to something else. Now, starting April 20th, which is Easter, Passover, we're going to be reading out of the 50 Days of Prayer book that gets distributed around the county. So it may take the place of this Valley of Vision for a time, but rest assured, we'll get back to this for sure. All right. You guys have been awesome. What a great crowd. We'll catch you on the next one.